Most people believe something that sounds reasonable. If I understand the pattern, I will stop repeating it. But understanding a pattern and interrupting a pattern are not the same thing. Because thinking alone rarely changes behavior. If thinking solved patterns, you would have solved yours years ago. Let's look at what most intelligent people do. They reflect, they journal, they analyze, they talk to friends, they read books, they listen to podcasts, they try to understand themselves. And yet the same patterns repeat. Different relationship, different business partner, different environment, same dynamic. Why? Because thinking is unstructured. Your mind loops inside the same assumptions that created the pattern. So reflection becomes rumination. And rumination feels like progress, but it rarely produces correction. You are thinking, but you are thinking inside the same architecture. There are three common ways people try to break patterns, and each one has limits. First, journaling. Journaling is useful, but most people journal reactively. They write when they're upset, which means the writing is driven by emotion. Emotion organizes memory around justification. So instead of discovering something new, you often reinforce the story you already believe. Second, talking to friends. Friends care about you. But friends usually do one of two things. They comfort you or they agree with you. Neither one interrupts unconscious participation. Third, coaching or therapy. These can be powerful, but they also create dependency. Insight becomes something that happens only when another person is present. And that means your ability to see yourself clearly is outsourced. The problem isn't intelligence. The problem is structure. Patterns repeat when reflection has no architecture. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. How many times have you understood a pattern and still repeated it? You saw the red flag, you felt the signal, you knew something was off, and you participated anyway. That is not stupidity. That's unconscious architecture. Awareness alone is not interruption. Structure creates interruption. For years, I understood the pattern of overfunctioning. I could explain it clearly. But I still stepped into stabilizing roles automatically. Understanding was not the problem. Interruption was. Inside the infinity method, we work with something called thinking architecture. Not just reflection, structured reflection. Questions that reveal participation. Questions that expose where identity is fused with the pattern. This is why I built something recently. Not another course, no coaching, not advice. A structured reflection system. It asks precise questions, the kind that stops you mid-sentence, the kind that expose where you are still bracing, where you are still stabilizing something that isn't yours, where you are still participating in a pattern you say you want to leave. It is not therapy. It is not motivation. It is thinking architecture. Because when reflection has structure, your nervous system can finally see the pattern clearly enough to interrupt it. You don't need someone else to tell you what's happening. You learn to witness it yourself. Thinking rarely changes patterns. Structured awareness does. Because the moment you can see your participation clearly, the pattern loses its power. If this is landing, stay with me.